New Mexico Shakespeare Festival's production of Coriolanus is a powerful political drama that explores ambition, loyalty, and the will of the people, brought to life through an intense and timely performance you will not want to miss. We're excited to have Augusta Allen Jones and Crash Buist to tell us more. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I would definitely want to learn more about this particular production. So, if you can go ahead and start by letting us know what it's about.
Well, I think both of us have our own ideas of what it's about. For my part, it's about a man who is a warrior consumed with war. That is his, I mean, I'll let you talk about what your character is about. My character is about a mother who's consumed with her son, who's a warrior and who is very controlling, very power hungry, um, wants wants fame and fortune through her son, and sort of uses her son at any cost to get what she wants. Um, she loves him, but I think she loves power more. And so it's a constant battle and struggle between the two characters, amongst other things that are happening, many other wars.
Like a lot of other Shakespeare has different eras that he goes through, right? And different sort of eras of history, and sort of depending on which part of history you're in, you'll find that he has a different perspective, because his audience had a different perspective, and he liked to sell tickets. So, when he was doing the Roman plays, he had an opportunity, since it was so far back in time for him, and it was sort of a genre, kind of like we have sci-fi or we have Tolkien or we have whatever, World War II. They didn't have that. So he had these sort of Roman, not quite myths, but historical figures. And you'll see in these plays, like Julius Caesar's one that's often done, for good reason. It's a great play. But every one of his Roman plays, you'll see that he has a much more ambivalent take on sort of what is right and what is wrong and what is happening. And he explores a lot of depth about like the human spirit and interactions and humanity and beyond that, politics. He couldn't really talk about the politics of his time because he was sort of limited to whatever conservative viewpoint the Queen had, or he was going to get shut down. But if he
True.
talked about the Romans, he could be much more ambivalent about the nature of democracy or the nature of, authoritarianism or the nature of, politics in general. So this play really is often not done because I think people don't generally explore the multifaceted nature of the story and the characters. Um, there's a lot of talk about how, like, Coriolanus is a mama's boy, and that's a lot of his issues are mommy issues, which is true. His mom turned him into a warrior and has a tremendous hold on him, but not often, or a lot is made of his relationship with Ophidius, who's a character who is like another warrior that he looks up to and is in a constant mortal struggle with. And sometimes that's really focused on. But I think the key thing to take away from the play, or the key things to take away from the play, are not often um, the multi-layered, multifaceted things, all the other characters, the other politicians, the things that are going on with the people, with, authoritarianism. This play has a lot to do with what is happening in our world right now,
Today.
because nothing is new under the sun, and just
Yep.
because the means of it are different does not mean that that humans have changed all that much. So,
And I
yeah.
think that that's also one of the reasons why Quinn decided to do this play now,
Mhm.
because it does coincide so much with what the world is right now.
And
I
I
mean,
was going to ask if that was one of the reasons for bringing it on. And as you talk about, I mean, this is it is definitely more of a unique production and play as opposed to the more famous ones of Othello or Hamlet or Hamlet. Excuse me. But how do you guys now take that the how different this play is and putting it on stage? How do you approach that, especially with what we're dealing with in the world today and the emotions and frustrations, honestly, of what folks are dealing with? How did you approach it when you took it to stage?
I think it speaks for itself. I don't think that we have to shove it down anybody's throat. just like Romeo and Juliet. You see it in every other movie you see, Romeo and Juliet or Othello, or I mean, Shakespeare's all over the place. So it's just it is what it is. It's a story that goes through time, class systems, war, politics, politicians, you know, it just seems to keep repeating itself. So,
Yeah.
Sadly.
I think that the danger that a lot of directors run into that our director Quinn Mander does not have a problem with and is much more, I think he's much more intelligent and keen on how to tell stories to a modern audience is I think you'll often see plays that are sort of anachronistically set in now and very clearly, oh, this politician is this guy and this is that guy. And I think that that's a really good way to preach to the choir and a really bad way to change people's minds. And one of the really cool things about theater is you can educate and entertain at the same time. And your goal should be to entertain the entire audience and to educate the entire audience. And hopefully, the way that we produce it and act it and interact will lead people to find parallels in their own world, and more importantly, in their own lives personally. They find a personal connection to what's going on with the characters and a personal connection to the events happening on stage. There's a thing Quinn says a lot in his when he's working with us about this play and about politics is that politics is personal and that when it's not, when it becomes impersonal, when it becomes an abstract thing, that's when people get hurt because they don't understand this applies to you, this affects you, right? So the more personal we can make the relationships, the more personal we can make the story, the more honest we can make the characters, and the more real we can make it, not in regards to our world, but in regards to its own world, people will automatically come in and take their own have their own opinions and take their own perspective or bring their own perspective into the play and take their own message out of the play. And if we've done our jobs right, they'll leave more educated and more emotionally aware than when they came in. And that's the kind of world that we want to make with the art that we do, I think, and Quinn is of that mind. So
Quinn's whole vision of this, his whole approach is um, it's unconventional. It's he's adding a lot of sound, a lot of the whole technical aspect of this production is going to blow people's minds because it's all sort of a dance. And he's we're just getting our sea legs right now. We're just finishing blocking. And now, there's lots of, I mean, ask Quinn, he's one of the fight directors. There's fights throughout the whole thing. It's active. It's, going to have great music. But Quinn has a very specific genius behind this that's kind of, the mad scientist. But
yeah, Lauren Seneschal is our fight director for the play, and part of the reason why we are, it's so rich with blocking. Usually, like if you're doing Shakespeare right, and a lot of times what you see is a lot of people kind of pacing back and forth and talking, and you don't really know what's going on. So a very specific blocking takes time, but also these fights, half this play, like almost half the play is fights. Like
Jeez.
it's very, very or some semblance of choreography, but we looked at it the other day and we have something like 12 or 13 separate phrases of fights that we have coming in and out or whatever. And I think that's one of the things that another reason why this isn't done very well is in order to do it well, you have to have a lot of people that know how to move and know how to fight. And our fight director again, Lauren Seneschal, is doing the service to the actors of like figuring out how actors that are new to the fights or actors that have a lot of experience like she does can all get into it and interact in a way that is going to serve the story of the play and hopefully engage people in a way that they don't usually get to see because
Yep.
that stuff can be really fun. And I like action movies, and some of my favorite movies that have spoken to me, like The Matrix, it's very much an action movie and it has a lot to do with social commentary. So there's a lot of action and a
yeah,
lot of talking.
Well, I love the idea that Quinn very much seemed to think about when it comes to the audience. I like the idea that they're walking in there, they're not being preached at,
Mhm.
considering that they have to deal with the everyday struggles that are going on right now, going into a theater and being like preached at. He's not going by that approach. Definitely seems to have a very particular vision on this production.
Yeah, it has a he definitely has a vision for the way that it's told. There are certain structures and ideas and concepts happening with different characters and like how we there is an aspect of the play where different pieces of the set can be played as musical instruments. So Lauren, who's the fight director, is also the set designer, and she is implementing different um pieces of the set that can be played for different uh events or whatever happens on stage. So somebody might come in and they might ring a bell, or a part of the set might be an alarm bell that somebody in the middle of a scene is trying to like ring, or there might
Or
be some,
even an emotion.
yeah, and something that might correspond with somebody introducing themselves. And in addition to that, each character has like different, we're calling them sidearms, but essentially every character has like a stick or a weapon on them at all times that they can use to strike instruments, or sometimes it turns into a knife. We have sticks on stage that are of different varying lengths that are being used as different weapons. So what somebody might come in with a stick and they're using it as a sword, while another person has the same stick and it's an axe now. And then beyond that, the music and the sound that is being done from the sound design is going to be very rock and metal based. So very anachronistic,
Wow.
not quite the Roman, like there are some Roman or there's some deep drum stuff going on, but it also has a very metal vibe to it as well. So there's a lot of stuff that he's juggling, and trying to make those elements seamless with the actors and everything has been his challenge, and I think he's doing an amazing job.
This seems to be a very much more interactive. I mean, I've seen some of the plays that have stepped on stage for the company, but this, wow, this is further along than anything that I can even envision happening with the company. Do you guys also take part in? I mean, do you get to do a lot of this interactive stuff along with? I mean, you talked about the fighters and whatnot using their strengths. You, as the actors in the production, do you get to take part in that as well?
Oh, yes. I'm actually the one that trained young Marcius when he was a boy how to
Oh,
fight.
wow.
So she
Wow.
has, yeah, there's a sequence that Quinn has found a lot of opportunities, and I think that one of the reasons this play isn't done very often is because there's a lot of there are like people use the phrase problem play when talking about Shakespeare sometimes, like this is a problem play, and they use it in different ways. Some people use it when it's like a politically incorrect play, and that like it doesn't work anymore for whatever reason. But sometimes they call it a problem play because it's just like difficult to put up, and there are things that are difficult to do and they don't really make sense. And Quinn has found a lot of places in this play where he's adding things that really bring out and enrich parts of it that maybe weren't obvious to begin with. One of which is at the beginning of the play, there is a sequence where young Marcius is being trained, or young my character Coriolanus. So young Coriolanus, he's not Coriolanus yet. Names are hard, but young Caius Marcius, the father of young Marcius, who is the young man Owen, who is in our play, is incredible. Kid is brilliant, and he's doing incredible work as playing my son. But for a sequence, he plays a young version of me, and so there's a fight between mom and kid where we see how training someone for the world can be a very abusive experience at times. And so there's fights there. There are, but yeah, Quinn has found a lot of solutions in this play uh, that make it not a problem anymore. And that requires all of us to like my character, Corey. I'm in every fight, I think. No, except for that one.
Oh, it's a
Baby me is in the
gee
fight.
whiz.
Because that is, yeah, Coriolanus was sort of like an unkillable general warrior. The thing
War
that,
Machine.
yeah, yeah, his claim to fame was during his last campaign in the building of early Rome. He found himself alone and abandoned by his soldiers in the city of Coriolis. And everybody wrote him off as dead. And instead of dying, he essentially killed everybody in the town that was of martial threat and took the city alone, and then left the city, gave it to the rest of the soldiers, and then continued to fight in the campaign until he finally like the Romans won against the Coriolis soldiers and the anti-aids that they were fighting. So they gave him the name at that point. It happens on stage. It happens in the play where his name changes from just Caius Marcius to Coriolanus, which is Coriolis victory, Corio, and then Lanus meaning victory. Um, and so yeah, I don't know. It's so I got to fight a lot is the point.
These are some pretty powerful characters that you both seem to be playing. Was there any challenges that you're seeing as you're working on this production? Is there any challenges
Sure,
that you're facing?
sure. But we're working through them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like, are
There
there any
are
challenges in
challenges.
playing Hamlet, right? Is there any challenges in playing Gertrude, like or
Hmm.
Claudius? It's like, yeah, that's all the work, right? Is
Sure.
somehow coming in and being, a guy who grew up in a farm in Texas and convincing everyone on stage that you're an unkillable badass from early Rome is like kind of the whole deal. Or that you are I mean, Augusta is kind of awesome and awe-inspiring character in her own right, but to be a mother of warriors from a time when you had to manipulate, and there's plenty of work to do.
Ah, the power of theater. But it sounds
Yes.
like you guys are having a great time while you're figuring that out, that you're going to bring a really cool production to the stage. So, where can people find out more about it and where to purchase tickets?
We are at North Fourth Arts Center. Um, we run the 10th through the 25th. Is that correct?
Might be the 26th, I believe.
Through the 26th, we have matinees. It'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday matinees. It's at 4804 4th Street Northwest, and tickets are on sale now at www.newmexicoshakespeare.org.
It's
Is it?
nmshakes.org. Yeah.
Okay, and that's where they can buy tickets.
Yeah, they're on sale now at nmshakes.org.
Thank you guys for taking time
Thank
out to talk
you.
to me about the production. And wow, this one's going to be an interesting one.
It's
There's a
not one
lot
to,
of
it's
action
really not
within
one to
this.
miss. It is the team, the the production team is unmatched. Quinn as a director is unmatched. You were saying it seems different than anything that the company's done before. That's a Quinn Mander production. Like
Mm,
they did a good job, and I don't think they knew what they were getting into, because he has a lot of really great ideas, and he's very organized and articulate about it. And it's a lot to incorporate, but the more layers I think you can add to a performance, and the more you can deliver to an audience, the more they'll have to think about, and then it's worth the price of admission. So
definitely, definitely. Well,
Yes.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. Thank you again for taking time to talk with me, and I look forward to seeing it.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.